Welcome into the Ole Miss Morning-After show with me, Ben Garrett, the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, affiliate of On 3, and Bradley Sowell, former Ole Miss offensive lineman, 8-year NFL vet. And Ole Miss football, my friend Brad, long time no see, sir, is 1-0, following a 73-7 shellacking of Mercer on Saturday. How are you?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that talent-wise, one thing that popped off to me, and this is just me, I've watched Ole Miss football my whole freaking life. Same thing with you. Like, I can never remember a time we had this much freaking talent. Like, and a good example of that was later on in the game, which I try to watch every play because this is the game where you do get to see some of your younger guys. Man, when Walker Howard ripped those two throws, one for on like 2nd and 20 and another one on like 3rd and what, like, dude, we didn't have our starting quarterback when I was here couldn't throw a ball like that. And you got guys, J.J. Henry catching a ball like that. Dude's our starting receiver when I'm here. Like, yeah, just the amount of talent out there that Lane Kiffin have brought in is phenomenal, man. There's a few people that popped out too. I thought that really was eye popping, and one being Xavier Harris. He looked awesome. I mean, that was a surprise. And then obviously, you had the kid from La Tech, both Harris guys. That kid's got some real talent. I think I texted you during the game. I was like, man, this kid's got some freaking talent. Like, and I get it, it's Mercer, but he was still, you can watch a guy run routes. You can watch a guy go up and get the ball. That's all. I mean, no matter who you're playing, that's going to all translate.
Tre Harris is obviously the biggest takeaway for me. I mean, he broke a new he set a new single season Ole Miss record for touchdowns in a game with 4, had 133 receiving yards, led the team obviously, and really was Dart's number one option from jump. There are a lot of things to talk about in regards to those weapons for Jaxson Dart. Tight end room is becoming a little bit of a concern. We'll talk about that. But when you think about Tre Harris's big day, yeah, he's talented, but I think we kind of knew that. He came over from Louisiana Tech. He's a transfer wide receiver that everybody wanted. Ole Miss lands him to be a top 2 option in the wide receiver room. And now for him to come through and dominate like that, that's not the surprising thing. I think what was the most surprising thing, not that Jaxson Dart was named the starter, because we've been talking about Jaxson Dart was going to be the starter all week, if not all August camp. But the fact that he dominated the snaps, Spencer Sanders and Michael Trigg, for that matter, didn't come into the game until 8:08 in the third quarter. And at that point, Ole Miss was up 52-7, and Jaxson Dart had put up an incredible stat line. He went 10 for 10 in his first 10 passes for 207 yards and 3 touchdowns, and finished with 4 touchdowns, over 300 yards passing. It was a dynamic day for him. So Tre Harris, he's awesome. He's going to be a leading option for Jaxson Dart all year. But Jaxson Dart is QB1. We knew that. Lane Kiffin refused to name it until today when he gave it to Chris Lowe like we all expected him to. But I think how good he looked in comparison to the other quarterbacks, because Walker Howard did some good things. Spencer Sanders did some good things. Jaxson Dart looked in complete control. I was really impressed with how he's driving on the ball. What about you?
Yeah, no, and I was told after the spring he wasn't even close. I mean, I was told that he did really, really well in the spring. Kind of took that next step, and it translated today, man. He looked real calm. Like, he knew where to go with the ball. He knew when to run. Like, he looked a lot less, all over the place, like he did at times last year. So if this translates, man, I think he's set to have a massive year. I mean, a really, really big year. Obviously, we got to see him versus SEC talent, but still, a throw's a throw. And the man was delivering the rock all day, on target. Knew where to go with the ball, which that's what I always look at. When I look at quarterback play, dude, I'm like, hey, yeah, of course he's playing Mercer, but does he making the right read? I'm following his eyes. I'm following where he's going with the ball. He knew where to go with the ball, and if that wasn't open, he was immediately going to the second and sometimes to the third. So that's what I was impressed with. And, I mean, you look, dude, 3rd down today, 8 for 11. I mean, that's all you can ask for, dude. 8 for 11 on 3rd down, you're going to win a lot of ball games. I think he's taking the next step just based off of what I'm seeing, his reading the field and how in control the offense he looked, man. I mean, and he's sneaky athletic, dude. Like that's why like I think he can be better than Corral. I really do. Just based off, like, he's athletic enough to still make the big runs, but like the way he throws the ball, like the arm talent's no different, and he's got a bigger, better frame. So I don't know, man. I think he can if he keeps developing the way he has. I think he can be better than Corral.
Before we really get going, this podcast brought to you by Jake Ott of Bank of England Mortgage, Arkansas, not Big Ben. If you're looking to buy a home, refinance, whatever you're looking to do, contact Jake Ott. His team has over 50 years of experience delivering stress-free, seamless, bespoke lending solutions tailored to each customer's needs and goals, whether it's your game day condo, starter home, dream home, investment property, beach house, or mountain home. Bank of England Mortgage has the financial solution for you. They're licensed in 48 states. They do it all. All right, Brad, you mentioned Jaxson Dart. We talked about him being named the quarterback, how well he performed. I'm looking at stats right now. He was 18 of 23, 334 yards and 4 touchdowns. Quinshon Judkins, 13 carries for 60 yards and 2 touchdowns. Pretty pedestrian day by his standards, but still really, really good. 4.6 yards per carry. Tre Harris, 6 for 133 and 4 tutties. That was a new Ole Miss record. Jordan Watkins was second on the team, or tied for first on the team with 6 receptions, 111 yards. His biggest play probably came in the punt return for a touchdown. The first punt return for a touchdown, 69 yards for Jordan Watkins in 10 years. 10 years. And then defensively, Suntarine Perkins led Ole Miss with 9 total tackles. Let's see, 4 solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, and 1 pass breakup. What did you think of him before we really dive even deeper into the defense and all the other areas? Because we were texting back and forth. He is thin. We saw that when he reported to campus. And, I mean, he needs to add some weight. But the athletic traits are insane.
That's what's crazy, man. And like, he's doing this while he's skinny. So when this dude eats a little bit of good food, SEC food, it lifts some SEC weights for another year. Like, man, he is athletic as crap. He really is a true athlete out there. So I'm excited about him. I know I give him crap for being skinny. I always tell you, yes, I do. This kid's got to get some weight on him. But I was impressed. I mean, for a freshman like that to come in and play the way he does, he's good. He's gonna be a good player, and we all know that. That's an obvious thing. But I also like how Kiffin is putting him out there, and same way with some of these other freshmen that were in there. You had Aiden was in there a little bit today, which he really, I think he had one or 2 catches, maybe one, two, I think 2 catches.
1 catch for 43 yards, but what a catch it was, man! He went up and got it. I mean, that looked like Laquan, AJ Brown. You think of all the number ones. That play Aiden Williams made. That was every bit as good as what they would have done.
How about Caden Lee coming in there and getting a little touchdown and on a good double move there? So, yeah, man, there's a lot of talent all over this team, and that to me, I just as I was sitting there, I went to the game. I was watching. I want to watch it real close. That's what was eye popping to me, man. I was like, dang, we got some freaking talent out here, and obviously we didn't have our top. I won't say top 2 tight ends. I don't know what's going on with Trig, but you got Heath and Wolf. I mean, they look the part. You look at them, they look like good SEC tight ends. Obviously you didn't have the kid from Memphis either. So there's talent everywhere, dude. Like the team is loaded. This is a very loaded team on offense.
Caden Prieskorn, he's down for multiple weeks. He went ahead and had the surgery. He's been dealing with the foot injury. It's a minor foot injury, but they had to clean it up throughout fall camp. He went under the knife. He's going to be back in a couple of weeks. I would venture to guess from what I'm hearing, he'll be back for Alabama, but don't hold me to that. But I think the biggest news from Saturday in regards to the tight end room, because I think usage for the tight ends was one of the most interesting things about this game. And Kyron Heath, through his first career start, actually tied for 3rd on the team in catches with 3. I mean, that's not a lot, but still he was active.
He's a good athlete, dude. Yeah. Like, he moves well. Like, he's a very solid, very serviceable tight end for us. And I watched him real close, and Wolf looks a daggum part too, but he's a very capable receiver. If schemed right, could produce very well. And he's going to probably be asked to catch 3 or 4 balls a game, just like any of the others will be. But man, I was impressed. Like, he's a good little athlete.
But Michael Trigg, there was a little bit of a question in regards to his status coming into the game, because he's back in the doghouse and he was with the 3rd team today. And then you look up at the end of the game because Hudson Wolf got hurt. And the word we're hearing at the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, and affiliate of On 3, is that he's broken his collarbone. And if he has broken his collarbone, for a guy who's already dealt with a back injury, I mean, he was finally coming around after being injury riddled. He can't catch a break. It looks like he's suffered another one, and he'll be out for a while, if not the entire rest of the season. I don't know how long a broken collarbone typically takes. Michael Trigg was back, by the end of the year last year. But when Michael Trigg went down last year with his injury, Kyron Heath was one of the guys they were looking to turn to and didn't really make that impact. Today, you can tell the development. He's come along and he's ready to take a step, and he looked perfectly serviceable there. I think he's got some real upside. But there's a reason why Michael Trigg is still on this team. And it's because there are some concerns in that room. Caden Prieskorn being out for multiple weeks, Hudson Wolf being out for an undetermined amount of time right now. They got to have Michael Trigg. I mean, this is the time. If he was waiting for his opportunity, if he had been pouting or having a bad attitude or doing whatever to get kicked out of practice twice, whatever was causing that, well, now here's a real opportunity for you. And he was active today. I mean, I'm looking at the final stats for him. He tied with Kyron Heath with 3 catches on the day, 44 scoreless yards, but he was active and he looked like he was engaged.
Well, I don't know the kid at all. Never met the kid, but like obviously he's got the talent. You look at him out there, he can run. He's a matchup issue. Should be producing crazy numbers, but you just never know mentally how some of these kids are, man. Like, it's just and I've seen it happen a lot of times over the years where you're just like, man, if this kid would ever just get right or act right, he would make $100 million, right? I mean, he has all the. It just never happens for some guys, and it sucks. We need the guy. We need him, and I hope it comes around. I hope, but I'm at the point I don't even know the guy, and I don't even trust him because I feel like I see a report every other month he's done something suspended here. So, and here's the reality. The reality in sports, and there's gonna be somebody better come along, dude. Like, get it together. These are short windows. We've already had guys show up that are really good players now. So you're only want it or have value for so long before they just don't give a shit anymore, dude. They're gonna move on to the next guy. So get it together, man. You got the body. You were in there, came in there late, and was already showing flashes. Like this dude should be lights out for us.
The Ole Miss Morning-After show with Ben and Brad is brought to you by Jake Ott of Bank of England Mortgage. Buying a home? Take the first step by getting pre-approved by the Jake Ott team at your local Bank of England Mortgage. Buy with confidence, knowing the exact cost and what to expect by getting the paperwork behind you on the front end, making for a relaxed, stress-free home buying experience. Whether it's your game day condo, starter home, dream home, investment property, beach house, or mountain home, Jake Ott and Bank of England Mortgage have the financial solution for you. And through the end of 2023, they're offering no-cost refinance for all who purchase in the current high-rate economy. Interest rates will come down soon, but Jake Ott and Bank of England Mortgage will be there to save you big money on your refinance when the time is right. Let Oxford's Best take the stress out of your home buying experience. Check out Jake Ott and the Bank of England Mortgage team at www.boeoxford.com. That's boeoxford.com, or you can contact Jake directly at 662-832-4663. That's Jake Ott of Bank of England Mortgage, the title sponsor of the Ole Miss Morning-After show with Ben and Brad.
Our players played really well today, and I told them that. Obviously, there's things to get better. We all know that, but I commend them for how they started the game. I also commend them at halftime because, a lot of times when you have leads like that, you come out flat in the second half, or when the 2s and 3s go in, you do. So I commend our guys, our coaches, putting a lot of off-season work, making the roster, and then making sure these guys understood, we got a game to play to get to 1-0. And, it's good to be back in a winning locker room too. It's been a long off season, so that part was good, and I'm just really pleased with how they played. Obviously not perfect ever, but really, 2 significant plays, the fumble and the first run of the game by them. Outside of that, that's a pretty good day, and to be able to play so many players.
Lane, can you take us through the decision to start Jaxson today, and do you foresee him being your starter going forward?
Well, that took a long time. I was just excited we won by a lot, before I got that question. So I told you guys, I thought both guys had a great camp, had played really well in the scrimmages, the mock game. That felt really good about both guys being able to win for us. And I thought both guys played extremely well today and, made a lot of plays. I think Jaxson started 11 for 11. Spencer throwing 2 touchdowns. So, at the end of the day, we had to make a decision who went first. And Jaxson did a really good job. And now we'll go back and go to work this week and, just get all our players better. So that was really good to see. And, I know there's people out there that say, well, people need to be named starters for them to play well. Well, he wasn't named a starter and went 11 for 11, so I don't think that theory works very much. That, keeping competitions open is a bad thing.
Lane, with Kyron Heath getting to start at tight end, and aside from getting 3 catches at 48 yards, do you feel like you saw what you needed to see out of him in this first career start?
I thought he did a good job. Stepped up with pre-scoring at the last minute, not being able to go today. So that's a lot in our offense to play, because you got to play outside and play in open space, and then play in as a normal tight end. So I thought he did a really good job, really, for his first significant playing time to start. He did a good job in there.
Tre, it looked like he was coming along well at camp, kind of grasping everything, but just your initial thoughts of the performance he had today for your offense.
Yeah, you guys had asked about him, and you guys had seen him out there. So, I didn't really want to jinx him, but I really thought he had played like this the whole camp. It really looked like a really dominant SEC receiver. So for him to go out and perform today in his, first Power 5 game and catch 4 touchdowns, in whatever 2.5 quarters of play, was pretty neat to see.
I'm going to ask you an obvious question. Do you hope to be able to play this many people moving forward, or is this just kind of an experiment day when you got a big lead?
That is an obvious question. We would like to have leads like this and play everybody. That would be good in every game. So ideally, when you do get ahead, you want to be able to play guys, especially when you got so many new guys that need to play and never played together, and a lot of new coaches, a brand new defensive system. So that was really good to have. Obviously, the goal is to win the game, but to be able to get up early enough to play so many guys and now be able to watch film on them and see how they did and get the experience was really big. Because, again, half that locker room we never played with.
After that first play by Mercer, the touchdown, just how did you feel the defense kind of responded after that, just overall with this new system under goalie?
Well, I said on the headset, we paid a lot of money, Pete, for you, and that's not exactly what we're expecting. So that wasn't a real good start, but they did tell me after that we only get 14 yards rushing. So maybe my joke he responded to. But that first play broke on the quarterback pulling it, and then we settled down and played really well. And I thought did a number of things to kind of give them some issues.
Lane, it looked like Trigg wasn't dressed to start the game. Was he brought in the second half kind of out of necessity, or was that the plan all along?
We have discipline in our program that we never, that we handle internally. And so that was part of it. And it was good to see him respond and play really well in the second half. And that had nothing to do with anyone else's play or injuries. That was the plan. So it's good to see him come out and play really well.
Questions up top?
Coach, regardless of who you're playing, 73 points is a lot to put up on the scoreboard. Just take me through the entire offensive game plan as a whole and just how well it played out today.
Yeah, I know, okay, well, it's the opponent, and but those guys play hard, You go 2 years ago at Alabama and look at, how they played defense early in that game at Alabama, and then hung around with Auburn last year for a while. So that's not a team that normally goes to the SEC and has scores like this, especially defensively. So that was really good to see. It's hard to produce that consistency in those type of numbers, versus your service team. So that's a lot of people doing a lot of things right, and obviously led by, the quarterback. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot of people stop the run with, Q returning and, leading the SEC in rushing most of, I think, 2 or all 3 years we've been here. So that was kind of expected that you're going to have to throw people out of some defenses.
I believe Tre's 4 touchdowns were a school record. Is there anything specific that you saw just working for him, or what was helping him be so effective?
I think he prepared really well. Really love everything about this kid, how he prepares, how he focuses on the game. Really struggles with guys that don't want to be like that around him. And so it was awesome to add him. And he really responded today. So pretty neat. Kind of has some Mingo personality to him too, of just, goes to work, doesn't say very much, and get, not one of these guys that wants to celebrate because they make a first down and, do some big dance. So really good to see receivers like this.
And then kind of how cool was it to see Spencer, when he gets his chance to go in there, just be so effective and just, how much easier is it for you when you have two really, really good quarterbacks?
Yeah, there was not an exact plan there of when that switch was going to happen. It's hard to switch when someone's playing so well, things are going so well. So I commend Spencer because, just a guy that started 41 games. So that's not easy to do, to go, sit on the bench for a half. So I commend him, the way he stayed focused and he came in and played well.
We've talked a lot about the offense, but a big part of this win is also the defense. Saw a lot of fumble recoveries, sacks, interceptions, you name it. Just talk to me about their performance today.
Yeah, outside of that play, I thought the defense really swarmed the ball, really rushed the passer, and got some turnovers too. So it was really good to see.
I got one more, Coach. Obviously big game today, big win, but next week going down to New Orleans to take on Tulane. Just what are your first thoughts going there?
Yeah, that's a big challenge. Cotton Bowl champs. Coming off of beating the Heisman winner in USC, and then going to their place and playing them at home in top 25 teams. So that's a really big challenge this early in the year.
Lane, you've raved about Suntarine Perkins ever since he signed here, and to see him lead your team in tackles and kind of just be sideline to sideline the whole game. Was it any surprise to see what he did today?
Really wasn't. That's how this guy has played in every practice he's been in, every scrimmage. So, we expected him to be, and a lot of energy put into him recruiting for a reason. So, really good to see. We've not really had impact defensive freshmen necessarily like that. So it's great to have.
What other things really stuck out to you? One thing for me, Victor Kern and Quincy McGee, the transfer offensive linemen from Washington and UAB respectively, started at left tackle and left guard respectively. Not Jaden Williams, not Eli Acker, two veteran Ole Miss Rebels up front. And Jaden Williams started every game at left tackle last year for Ole Miss. But those two, and they helped put up for Ole Miss 667 total yards, 73 points, most in Lane Kiffin's 4 years at Ole Miss, 524 passing yards, 143 rushing yards, just video game numbers. Spencer Sanders was 8 for 14 for 134 and 2 touchdowns. But of all that, what really stuck out to you?
I was already told, hey, the defense could be rough. Golden's still a couple of years away from getting his type of guys in there. You look at our recruiting class for next year; it's a bunch of dudes coming in on that D line and all over. So I was like, Golden could have a mediocre year first year. I'm not going to judge him because he's still recruiting his guys. And all of a sudden, dude, some random white quarterback or whoever he was just gone 75 yards.
Yeah.
And honestly, you take that play out of the game. We completely dominated that team. Like it was bad, which we should have. But that was tough. But you look at it on the defense. One of my other takeaways from the day. On defense, man, how refreshing was it to see an actual defensive scheme being ran and not some prevent looking? Good grief, dude! It was cool. We play an actual defense. Ole Miss lines up in a 3-4. You got guys in the box. You're playing tighter. Like we're not just sitting back in this 3 down. It's actually fun to watch us play defense. And whether we have the guys or not, it's at least a very sound scheme. And there are going to be teams that line up with better athletes than us that are going to be able to get some stuff on us, but. My gosh, it was nice. I hope everybody else felt the same way. It was nice to see a freaking actual defensive scheme with guys in the box and physical, and playing in tight. So I thought that was really cool to see. Just a nice change up from what the heck we've been seeing for the last couple of years, like some Pac-10 or whatever the hell it is, Big 12 bull crap.
Yeah, the only way they can get much better, in my opinion, on that side and fast is through guys like Suntarine Perkins, Xavian Harris, who have real upside, not these accomplished guys maybe that are coming in and we kind of know who they are already. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, if you go back to that first play and somebody who's played football a while and people that have played will understand what I'm talking about. That happens sometimes when you come off of a camp and you're so used to like, oh, I'm gonna go like get the tackle, then all of a sudden, damn, everybody stops and somebody keeps running. I've actually seen that happen in a few scrimmages where the first play is just a massive touchdown. It's like, oh shit, we're playing a game. Like the guys aren't used to running and blasting somebody, and because it's your own teammates, right? So I've actually seen busted plays in scrimmages. You go to scrimmage the team, and it's like, all right, it's live tackling day. Then boom, the first play is like an 80-yard run. It's like, what the hell? Like, it's just you kind of you gotta have like a blank moment there. So obviously that was brutal to see, but I've seen that happen. So I'm not shocked that happened to us. I do not think we're where Golden wants to be talent wise. I do think there are gonna be games where people get after our ass, and that's just gonna be the God's honest truth. I think with a guy like Golden who can scheme the way he schemes, I think he can make some things still happen with what we got. I do think that there is going to be some issues throughout the year at times with this defense, but likewise, opponents we should do very well. We should hold up, and this is just like the one year we talked about with Corral, right? Like I think it was like a year or two or so. You don't have to be a top 25 defense, right? We just need to land somewhere in the 50s, 60s, somewhere in there, which is very doable for a guy like Pete Golden, and let our offense win the games for us, right? That's why you're paying $9 million. You're paying $9 million for a Lane Kiffin offense that looks the way it looks today, where, first play of the game, boom, he just, runs a freaking scissors route and one dude's wide open, DBs are looking dumb. That's what you're there for, right? Lane Kiffin's offense, his schemes, they work. They look good, and that's what we're there. We're an offensive team, right? We don't have to be a crazy defense. It will be great if we had one, but I think we need to, as long as we're somewhere in the middle, our talent is high, and I've seen a lot of Ole Miss football. This is a deep ass team. This is as good of an offense as Ole Miss has ever had from just all around, top to bottom. There's dudes. There's dudes that should be playing on teams and would be starting on teams that are not getting to play. I even forgot about JJ Henry. He caught that ball at the end of the game. I'm like, dang, I remember that dude. I thought that dude would be playing by now. I'm at a 8-4, 9-3, and I'm gonna tell you right now though, and I'm gonna go out and I'm probably took the two biggest sip of Kool-Aid just based off the eye popping freaking talent that I see out there on our field, and I'm also jealous. Like, damn, I would have taken our second team when I was here, and we would at least went to a freaking bowl game the last year, right? Like, we're gonna whoop somebody's ass we ain't supposed to whoop this year. We are going to beat somebody we ain't supposed to beat this year. I feel it, dude. It's just it's one of those days where like it's one of those teams where like you better show up against this offense, and I'm gonna tell you just like I see it. But man, Juckins, dude, this is a very talented offense. Like, and if Lane shows up with the right scheme, good luck defending it, dude. Good luck defending it, man. This freaking Trey Harris kid's legit. He really is good. Watkins is good. There's tons of other guys. Juckins. I think today, if you look. And I'm agree with Lane. Hey, I'm not running Juckins more than 10 to 15 carries today, right? Like, give him his touchdowns. Let's not get that guy hurt, right? We're gonna need him in the SEC play. They'll probably pick him up. I guarantee they'll ease him up to 20 next week, and then he'll be 25 plus most games. But damn, dude, I'm 9-3 right now. But like, you're gonna F around and find out versus Ole Miss this year.
Listen at him. He's fine. I told you he's the king of Kool-Aid. He's Bradley Sowell.
First one on my list, dude. LSU at home. Everybody's on there. Everybody's they're gonna win the national title.
Ooh,
that's one that I think we could whip their ass at home.
Well, a couple of quick notes before we get out. Ole Miss set its single game team passing record with 524 yards. The previous record was 517 against ULM in 2018. The 73 points tied for seventh most in school history, the most of the Kiffin era, and the most since 76 against Southern Illinois in 2018. And the 667 yards of total offense ranks as the sixth best mark in school history. So they did some work today. They did some absolute work. And defensively, they rebounded. They moved to 1-0. I don't think you could really ask for much more. This has been the Ole Miss Morning After Show with Ben and Brad. And for Brad, I say goodbye. Bye, Brad.
See you, Ben. Howdy toddy.